Hi everybody, we are so glad you're here. This week we are talking about relational circuits. We're so glad you're plugging into our YouTube channel.
Yes.
On this channel, we are going to be diving deeper into topics that we talked about on podcasts, that we heard from you, maybe a Facebook message you sent us or an Instagram message you sent us. Reach out because we would love to dive deeper in these videos to things that you are wanting to hear us talk about. Relational circuits. A relational circuit is the control center of the brain, which makes me sound very smart, way smarter than I really am. Thank you to the people that I've been interviewing lately. And what that is the control center. So it controls your emotions, right? When your relational circuits are on, you are able to know who you are. You're able to make decisions based off self-discipline. You're able to have self-control. You're able to empathize with somebody else. You're able to be present in a relationship. When our relational circuits are off, all the opposite is true. Impulse decision making, decisions not based off character, based off comfort, really a lot of self-preservation, which means if there's things we did that we don't want people to know about, right? We'll do whatever it takes to preserve those secrets because in that preservation, we're safe. So now we're doing things more about me and I than about the person I'm talking to or the relationships that I'm in. Hence the relational circuits.
Normally what turns them off is pain, shame, and isolation, which if you're familiar with addiction, normally addiction, right?
Totally, 100%. I mean, you're having those two things like on a maximum level.
And when you look at pornography, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but when you look at pornography, it makes you feel all those three things.
Of course.
So pornography is turning off your relational circuits.
Yeah, we're trying to bond with something that can't bond back with us. That would make any man or woman feel isolated. Because after you're done trying to bond with that, it doesn't work. And what we talked about in our podcast, which I hope you all listened to, right, with Chris and Jen Corsi, it talks about how a lot of our society settles for pseudo-joy. What is pseudo-joy? Fake joy. That's what that pseudo-joy means. It means we're still for fake joy. And an orgasm or things like that can do that. An orgasm, drugs, video games, whatever it is, even a movie, a TV show, all these things are pseudo-joy. And so if our brain cannot get joy from a relationship, a genuine relationship, a person, a real person that wants to be with us, our brain will then settle for fake joy because it still needs joy. Isn't that crazy that our brains crave joy?
Can I add something right there? The definition of joy is somebody who genuinely wants to be with you, right? And so coming from the guy's perspective, I'm assuming that you genuinely want somebody to be with you. And so when you're looking at pornography, you think that they want to be with you?
Of course.
But in reality,
they're just a person. They're just getting paid.
Suffice.
Yeah.
Right?
They're a paid actor, right?
Wow.
It's not something real. And so unfortunately what that does is going back to relational circuits, it turns off the circuit. Now what happens is we come home as a guy and we do things and we have behaviors that are out of character. Hence why you are probably so confused many times when maybe the guy shows up and he was having a good day. He went to go get groceries and came back angry. The woman thinks, man, I wonder what happened at the grocery store, right? They must have had a long line at the grocery store.
Or starts nitpicking something in the house and then starts blaming you for it. And so then you're like, oh my gosh, like all I've been doing is working hard all day. Like you're just going to come in here and nitpick the one thing that I didn't do?
Kind of a gaslighting to get the focus off of me and onto you.
Yeah.
Why? Self-preservation.
Yeah.
These relational circuits are super crazy important. And when they are off, when they're off, we're off, right?
That's so good.
And so what has to happen is we have to learn how to keep those on, especially in the sense of a restoration process.
And, okay, so take it back. When he comes home, ladies, you're not going crazy for having that feeling in your gut like you know something's up, okay? That right there is valid, and that's why your gut is saying something's off, like there's something not connecting here. And so now, ladies, our relational circuits go off because we are now feeling pain. We are now feeling isolated because we're not really connecting with our husbands, right?
And
so
we're
now
making you feel shame.
Yes.
For whatever you did that was like not that bad.
Yes. And if you've already known about your husband's, betrayal, well, you already have shame and pain and all that stuff going on, right? So now both of you are hurting. Both your relational circuits are off, and you're both wondering how in the world you're going to build intimacy together.
Wow. So good. Well, let's give some hope here. How do you turn on those relational circuits? Joy, right?
Yes.
Joy is one of the biggest things that turns them on.
And how Clinton turns on his relational circuit may be completely different than what's going to turn on my relational circuit. He may love quality time, storytelling, right? But for me personally, I know that I need just to step away, get a little breather, and get my thoughts put together, take a couple deep breaths, maybe play a worship song, pray, and then come back, and then we can start connecting.
Wow, so you're saying like having 3 kids that are all separated by less than 3 years might be a little chaotic, and the way you turn on your relational circuit is by stepping away and having peace?
Yep.
Of course it is, right?
Yep.
And so everyone is going to turn those back on in different ways. And I'm so excited because there's so much more on this topic that you can learn from going to our podcast, plugging in, reaching out, asking us questions.
Or attending our one-day workshop where we're going to be talking about this way more in depth.
Can't wait to have you guys there October 24th. It's going to be an amazing event. We're going to be talking about the book that's coming out soon on the 12 steps to rebuilding intimacy after infidelity.